we know what we're capable of, and we're not there yet. So, it's early in the season. We got to continue to work on that.
Nate, what did Kansas do defensively that forced you guys to take a lot of late in the shot clock shots and just kind of force some things up?
Oh, they just switched, and then they're a pretty big team. So when they switch, it's just like you got to be more aggressive. And I feel like we kind of got taken out of our things because of them switching.
Adrian, it seemed like consistent offense was hard to come by today. Where can you look to get more consistent offense? Is there, obviously, until Donnie gets back?
For me, it's not about the offense. I think it's really about us, our energy, on both ends of the floor, moving the ball, sharing. And I thought we got good shots. We didn't make them. And like Nate said, they did a good job of switching, and those guys did a good job of keeping us in front. We got to get a little bit more movement, but it's not about one guy, It's not about, the leading scorer. I'm just telling you right now, for the whole season, we're going to have different guys leading this team and scoring. So, it really wasn't about that. It was really more about, the energy that we, had some inconsistencies in, and I think that really spilled over into our offense a little bit. But we got good shots, we some that we can make and some that we didn't. But it really falls back onto the, our concentration and our energy effort.
Yeah, Adrian, one of the things I was curious about is you've struggled to rebound the ball here the last couple of days, and I'm curious about what your thoughts are about that.
Well, we didn't struggle yesterday against probably one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country. So, today we didn't do a good job on the glass. And I think that's, the things that we know we have to continue to work on and get better at, right? But, I think, if we can battle, Houston, who's one of the better offensive rebounding teams, and, close that margin. Today we didn't do that, and I think that impacted the game.
Coach, since you host Tennessee next Tuesday, I was curious if you're going to take advantage of the opportunity for some in-person scouting this afternoon.
I don't play them enough. I don't need to do any in-person scouting. I'm very familiar with Tennessee, Coach Barnes, what their program is about, and so we got one more game here. That's all I'm worried about right now is figuring out who our opponent is and getting ready for that.
Adrian, what is level 5 energy to you, and where specifically did you see it lacking today?
I think when you talk about level 5 energy, it's about, 5 guys connected, our bench connected, everybody in sync. And I think everyone that's followed Syracuse has had a glimpse of that. I thought yesterday, was a glimpse of that as well. And it's just, giving your all, maxing out effort, max out effort, giving your all on both ends of the floor.
Coach, you guys shot just over 30% from the field today. Just what's your message to your guys to, get them back on track?
It's about our effort, try not to focus. We don't want to focus on makes and misses. We want to focus on our effort. Everything that we're doing in this program is really about effort, right? Effort, right? Like we've shifted the focus on getting energy from making shots, right? That's the shift that we've made. And in our culture, it's about level 5 energy and effort, because typically when that happens, everything else works itself out.
Coach, obviously the last 2 days, it's Q1 opponents, top 10 defenses per KenPom. You mentioned lessons you're learning. How does the competition, especially against that caliber of competition, help the players, help the team, but also help you, especially still a young season, you got a lot more basketball left to play?
I think you always pull something from every game. In particular, when you play in this field, with the competition, that's some of the best in the country. You get a chance to see where you're at. You get a chance to that's your barometer to see where you're at. We've played against, 2 Hall of Fame coaches and 2 great programs. So we get a chance to, see where we're at, what we need to get better at. It's November, and we know that we're still a work in progress. I think it gives you a good barometer as a coach, and I think as players, to pull from this experience and move forward.
Adrian, I think I asked you this yesterday, but how do you get your guys ready for now a 3rd game in 3 days in what is really kind of a unique format?
Yeah, we'll get back today and get some food, and kind of stick to our routine. Hydrate, get our recovery. Got a great recovery team. So and that's all you can do. These are we know what these tournaments are about. These guys love that. I'm pretty sure they love to play more than they practice sometimes. So I'm sure they'll be excited. We'll be ready to play.
Questions for players too?
Adrian, last year Nate King shot the ball very well, especially from three at Oregon State. He's been struggling this year, struggling especially these past 2 days. Can you talk about what's going on with his shot? Is he getting good shots?
I think what Nate has done is he's really competed on the defensive end and rebounding. So he's given, he's doing a lot more for us this year. And again, he'll settle down and make shots. He's one of the best shooters I've seen. So I'm not worried about him making shots. I think he'll settle down and make some shots. But he's getting good shots. He's not forcing any. He's getting good looks. Our guys are starting to, doing a good job of getting him some looks and looking for him, and they got ultimate confidence in him, and we have confidence in him.
JJ, Flory Badunga scored 11 early, and then he didn't do much after that. What was the key to changing that?
Coming in, our focus was, they're going to drive and get in the paint and look for their bigs. I feel like our bigs did a good job of doing their work early, so he couldn't get, deep post touches, and that allowed us to, get them out of the flow of the game.
Question's going to be over here on the left. Got time for a couple more.
Hi. So one thing that I'm seeing from your coach is a huge component of trust. How has that benefited you guys as players to know that your coach isn't just going to take you out off of a little mistake? He's going to hold you accountable and allow you to get those reps and comfortability on the floor. How has that,
The players.
behind you and let you get those reps, let you get comfortable on the floor?
Nathan first, then JJ.
It's everything. That's really what you want in a coach, and that just makes you want to go hard for him. And having that support, knowing that he has your back no matter what, through the good and bad, just means a whole bunch to us. So, yeah, it makes us want to run through a wall for him.
Yeah, for me, this is my 3rd year playing for Coach, so, just building that trust is big time, like Nate said, and that's what you want as a player, to instill that confidence in you. And, it's early in the season, so I feel like we're still working towards that, but having that trust from Coach to be able to play, do mistakes, and, stuff like that is just big time.
This is for JJ. This is like your second game back coming off of the injury. First off, physically, how are you feeling? And then what's the process been for you in terms of having to get back into the fold coming off the injury in the first game of the year, and also trying to incorporate yourself back with the rest of the team?
Yeah, I'm back fully healthy. Now it's just finding my rhythm back, just playing with high energy, high effort, and then just allowing those things to take care of itself. I feel like I'm doing a better job buying in defensively, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. And then, I know I can score, but, I'm not focusing on that. I know it's going to come. My teammates have been, finding me open looks, so I know eventually things are going to go the way, we want it to go.